Hey folks, welcome to the Grad School Sucks podcast. My name is Matt Carlson and I am your host, and today I am interviewing Dr. Raúl Peña. He is a senior lab manager at a university in Spain and he conducts cancer and tumor research. He also runs the very popular social media account Research Goes Slowly, where he posts a lot of content about what it's like to be a career scientist. I think you'll get a lot out of this episode, especially if you're interested in what it's like to be a career scientist, what university research is like outside of the United States, and what it's like to be a content creator in the science and academic space. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you all on the other side. Dr. Raúl Peña, welcome to the podcast. You are Senior Lab Manager at the Hospital del Mar in Spain, and folks at home will know him from his Instagram channel, Research Goes Slowly. Was there anything that you wanted to add to my introduction so the folks at home can know a little bit more about you?
I work as lab manager, I work also as scientist, I have my own research line working on Kaposi sarcoma, on cancer. Currently analyzing the role of tumor microenvironment in this tumor that is not very good to understand. Okay, and then we are in close relation with doctors at the hospital and we make basic research at the end. We are just analyzing Kaposi sarcoma is induced by a viral infection, and then this viral infection promotes overgrowth of endothelial cells or lymphatic cells, and then we are analyzing how these cells also are entering into a mesenchymal program and how these cells relationate with other cells in the normal skin to activate and to promote tumor growth or to block tumor growth. And this is what we do in the lab, mainly in different cancer types, and sometimes focuses more in metastasis than in the promotion of growth, but in general what we do in the lab with these several tumor models.
It's awesome. What got you into cancer research?
I think everybody has a complex history. But I do my PhD in nucleus to cytoplasma transport, okay, in the University of País Vasco in the north of Spain. And then I moved to Barcelona, and then I started a postdoc in development. I always loved development since I had studied my bachelor's. I love development, how one cell can switch the program totally and can differentiate in skin or in an eye or in a neuron. I love that part. And then I stayed there in that postdoc here also in Barcelona for a couple of years. And I had to say that we work a lot, we produce a lot, but then arrived a moment in which I don't see myself doing that that hard work for the rest of my life. I think that is a crisis that everybody has in research, before or after. And at that moment, I just quit that postdoc work. Be honest and go one day to my boss and say, Melissa, sorry, but I don't see myself working on this 10 years later because it's time-consuming work. During the weekend, I have to think about experiments, have to read, and I need my time to be relaxed. And then at that moment, a friend of me that was working lab close to mine my postdoc institution sent me the offer from here, from Antonio, from my boss, from Hospital del Mar, and she said, oh, yeah, Raúl, maybe this offer fits to you because Antonio is like having a big lab, and then he doesn't want to be in charge of this part of organization of the lab, management of the orders, of the contracts, or he wants just focus on the research and the project and the money, and that's it. And that other stuff related with the research doesn't want. And I say, okay. And then he's looking for a doctor, a little bit old guy that with a basic sense what is happening in the business to manage this part of the lab. And I say, okay, I will try. And then he hired me, and I have been here from 2007, so I have been almost 20 years.
Yeah.
A lot of years. And then he studied cancer, so I entered directly in the cancer without knowing anything about cancer. And then during the lab meetings, the people explain their cancer projects, their topics, and I have start to read about it and then learn a little bit about it. I think it's time. learning is time at the end. Yes, you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's awesome that you found out about the job through a friend, like through your
Yeah,
professional
yeah.
network.
I would say that is pretty usual in science, no? The colleagues recommend you to another lab. And then that lab thrusts in your colleagues, and then you have like networking. No? At the end is networking. Here work many times in this sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned the lab has gotten smaller over the
Yeah.
years, but it used to be pretty big. What is it like to lead a really big lab?
I mean, depends. I have been, my lab, when I started, it has like 18 to 22 people. And then without the bosses, because we have 3 different bosses at that time with different PIs, supervisors. And then my lab continues with more or less that people are more or less maybe 10 years. And then I have to say that the difficult part is that is having everybody happy. When we are a big lab, but everybody was happy, nobody was fighting to any other lab mate,
Sure.
everything is fine. Everything is happy, and any problem can be solved with any problem, with any delay and any problem, and then with any suffering to anybody, But also I have been during a long time with times with some part of the lab don't fit with other part of the lab. And then you create like, I will not say secta, ghettos or whatever you can call it. And that parts are difficult to handle. Because each part, as human can feel that you prefer the other part and then you favor the other part sometimes. And then the stupid things that who use that centrifuge, who let this broken thing, who let this dirty thing in the lab, creates situations that can be solved in seconds, but as the lava is quite a little bit polarized, create like a ball, and then you get this is what's happening here, Also, have a big lab has many issues, at least in Spain, I will say everywhere, but at least in Spain, with bureaucracy. You have to solve many bureaucracies. With contracts, with orders, with project management, with justification of the projects, and then I have to do a lot of work on this. And this work was done half by the supervisor and half for me, depend which type of, and then you have to spend a lot of time on this. And I think that the good idea with Big Lab is establish rules that everybody feels that they own rules, and then the lab manager or the technicians be in charge that the rules should be followed for everybody. But I think that the best situation is when you, and I did several times along that years, this just creates meetings just to discuss the rules and the organization, and let everybody say whatever they feel could be improved. And then any idea from any student, any postdoc, any boss, any supervisor, I think that should be implemented just in case that idea is better than the system that you are using at that moment. Because maybe even the most new student can solve or can tune any process in a simplistic way and everything is happy. And I think it's the best. And also we handle many times with lack of funding.
Sure.
Here in Spain and everywhere you have years with many funding and other years with few funding. And when we enter in process in times with few funding, I always say the same to the boss. Let's do a couple of meetings just to explain economy to people, lab economy, research economy to people, to allow people to know how expensive it is, how we have to rationalize the spends of the lab, how we can to prioritize some experiments but do not other that are quite expensive, and how we handle this few money to all these big labs. And when the people is involved in this process, I think that everything goes fine. But the problem is when you go as lab manager, new lab manager, old lab manager, say, and guy comes and say, okay, you have to do that, because we work in this manner, and we are not flexible at all. and then doesn't work, nothing works. So it's like with new people, you say, okay, we try to do that in this manner, try to adapt to that. If not, probably you came with your own ideas from bachelors, from other labs, and maybe you say, okay, but in my other lab we do that in a slightly different manner and it works better. And they say, okay, why don't try? And then the people is involved in that. It's just to create a happy environment to people. So stressful is research by itself, to also stress people with rules, with orders, with laws in the lab. So I try to avoid that part. And I used to be so flexible at all. I don't want to be scolding people or checking people if they do that or they don't do that. It's like create a fun environment. Everybody's happy and at the end everything works, more or less fine. That's it, not necessarily more.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just 1 second, I'll be right back.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Sorry, something was making noise over there. So you've been in the research world for a number of years. Have you ever considered going to industry, working for like a company as a scientist, or do you like being where you are in the more academic side of things?
In fact, I love academia in
Yeah.
general. Despite all the things that are negative to that, and I agree to all the things, toxic environment, lack of funding, few salaries, but I love academia. I think that freedom that promotes academia, for me, promotes creativity. And this freedom to choose what to do every day by myself, in general, depending on the lab, I have to say that it depends a lot of the academic lab that you are. But at least in the lab I have been really free to do whatever I want. And then for me, this freedom has no value. Also, in Spain, at the time I was PhD, new PhD, I have finished my thesis. We haven't too many possibilities to go to real industry positions. And then I also never get out of Spain, always make my research in Spain. So at that time was so difficult. And then I started here in Hospital del Mar, and really enjoyed my work and love my work. I mean, I never thought seriously to move into private companies. I mean, they have some advantages. I mean, in terms of salaries, in terms of that they respect your time schedule, and then respect that you can do whatever out of your time. And in academia, you are always working on your experiment, thinking on your experiment, hanging out with researchers, and everything is like all together. No? But in fact, I'm happy. Maybe probably because the core of my years I have been lab manager. And the technicians don't have that stress that researchers has, and it's totally different. The work of technician is a little bit more relaxed. So, but I'm fine where I am, really.
Yeah.
I will just need more money to my lab.
Sure.
to really decide and don't get any reaction on any kind of experiment I can plan.
Yeah.
Because science itself is so expensive, and that's it.
Yeah. Since you've been lab manager, what have been maybe like some highlights or some achievements or discoveries that have come out of your lab?
Well, my lab, my actual boss, described a key seminar paper in epithelial to mesenchymal transition. He discovered, a PhD student of him, published in 2000s, that SNAIL1 protein can bind directly to E-cadherin promoters and repress the E-cadherin, and after that, epithelial cells can transform it into mesenchymal cells that promotes a gain of some traits within the cells, most of them related to mobility. Okay, so it's the manner in which most of the tissues during development most of the cells that are stuck in an epithelial layer can get out of this epithelial layer and move around and establish a new set of population out of this epithelial layer. Okay, and then after that they realize, although probably now is under discussion for many time ago, that this process, epithelial to mesenchymal transition, is highly related to metastasis in cancer. It's assumed in general that epithelial cancer cell that want to go under metastasis and establish in another organ have to transform it or briefly or whatever we can define, because this is depending on the supervisor will tell a different story. But these epithelial cells need to transform it in mesenchymal mobile cell to go around the bloodstream or the lymphatic canals and establish in another organ and then turn back into epithelial cell. And the first step of this is transfer this EMT. And then there are many theories. If SNAIL1 is the important protein, SNAIL2, SLAM, CEP1, CEP2. There are many proteins that at the end work in similar manner than SNAIL. And probably the truth is that nobody rules, and for each different subtype of cancer or each different cancer type, one of these proteins will rules. And even probably, maybe, who knows, any kind of epithelial cells without changing too much can move around as epithelial cells with a few traits of mesenchymal cell and move and establish over there. So then what at the very beginning was a process related to development transformed in a process related to cancer, and then this process gained a lot of notoriety, funding, and then many people is trying to block this process to avoid metastasis. It's like if theoretically you could block this first step within a cancer cell, within a tumor, you probably will not have ever any kind of metastasis. And the point is that metastasis is the leading cause of death in any cancer type. Everybody that in general dies due to metastasis in other organs. Because when you have primary tumor and different organs with metastasis, you have a systemic failure at the end, and then people die about that. So this is the key discovery of my boss that is really new in the field. In fact, we work on that protein, that process, and now a little bit because after that was discovered that SNAIL is also important in mesenchymal cells to be activated, to collaborate with cancer cells, to collaborate to healing, to collaborate to promote fibrosis, illness, and then at the end it's an important protein related to disease. And we study this process in general, just to block them, analyze them. But we do in a basic research perspective. We don't do really applied research. We do basic research. Establish the processes, the system, how they work, in which tumor is important or not. And that is what we do in the lab.
That's awesome. So I want to change directions a little bit. When did you start making content on Instagram?
Okay, I will need to check, but many time ago. And then I will have to analyze my account. I will have to say that we have like 3 different phases, okay? I am, since youth, amateur photographer, and I have been working as professional photographer for several years also. And then the first time of my account was show my photography in a creative point of view, because in that moment when I joined to Instagram, was so popular the use of these filters and apply blurring and transitions and whatever to images, and I started with that one. And then I had to say that nobody cares about my photography, so was so. Well, I enjoy a lot publishing photos, but nobody posting photos, images, but nobody cares about that, and this is real. And then, after several years, I established a family, kids, whatever, and then I hadn't time to take my own pictures. And then I think, why don't to post what we are doing in the lab? Images, also pictures, also shooting in the lab with my phone, and then showing that to the world. And I started with that. Really. And then I started to post resources and long captions explaining which experiment we are doing, when we publish papers, when we make a group picture of the lab, and then was not bad in engagement at that point. Okay, again, I think that in general, people and labs doing that don't get millions of followers, doesn't get also thousands of followers, but not bad. It was like a typical lab showing that they were doing, and then I was happy with that. And then Instagram creates that kind of content that is called Reels, that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Doing that. And then at the beginning, I don't enter in that part. I don't wanted to create that videos, and I say, okay, why? I am happy with what I'm doing. But at one moment, I have to say that nobody cares about images or posts without Reels. And at one moment, it's true. I mean, probably it's about the algorithm, no?
Yeah.
Probably it's that because video itself is more engaging than static images, and everything. And then Instagram start to promote Reels a lot a couple of years after starting with that idea, And then I started to create some videos and publish as Reels, mostly about imaging what we are doing, techniques, using trendy music and fuse colorful images, immunofluorescence of cells, immunohistochemistry of cells, And then, people love that kind of content to create videos, And then the last step, I think, that was showing myself in the camera. And then I think that when any creator, I think that doesn't matter related to science or whatever, start to show faces in that videos, the people engage more with that.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the beginning was so afraid and so shy, and then I record myself like one by side, and then don't looking at the camera, don't acting, it's just recording myself doing experiments, real experiment, I put the video and record 5 minutes and then edit a couple of seconds of that particular process that I have been doing in the lab, cell culturing, immunofluorescence, whatever, and then editing with music, and then when it started to appear, then I get more engagement, and at the end, I will not say that it's like addictive, but everybody likes the likes, And then after that, I started to collaborate with another accounts, this big account with big engagement, and then my account started to grow with that people, okay? And then once I switched to both situations, starting to show my face and starting to collaborate with that people. Everything goes going up. And I will have to check what will be my first video about making a joke. That is the unique content that I really know I'm creating, joke about science, research, the lab, But in any moment, I create a joke, a couple of jokes, maybe any kind of a stupid situation that happened mid last day. And then realize that joke, people loves a lot that joke. And then slowly, I go turn into that direction. And actually, what I am doing is just that part, because people, I think that the feedback of the people is amazing. People contact me, enjoy the jokes, and then contact by message, I comment the post, and people are so funny, encourage me to do that. And then it's just, when you show your face, start to act is like the next step. It's like, at any moment you choose a music and you have to create a script, and you have to create a phrase. And if you create a phrase, you have to do something in relation to that phrase. Because if not, it has no sense. You have to be coordinated with the text and with the images. The music doesn't matter too much. It has to be a trendy music, funny music that the people love, not so strange. And then start to act. And then I am that guy that makes jokes about science, and then in one moment this goes up, and that's it. And then from several months, I try to establish collaborations with another creators, and at least one per week post something in collaboration with another creators. That at the end they become friends. It's like I chat with them, message with them. We have problems we have problems with the music, we have problems with addition, we have problems in science, we have problems whatever, and then we enjoy. We make jokes and we make ideas, and then sometimes you create or other people create ideas and say, oh, Raúl, we can do that. Why don't? Let's try. And that's it. And then share, post in both channels, and I think that people love that part also. Yeah. It's like
That's awesome.
a in the algorithm at the end. It's like you want to win that part of the process, and then you have to create and innovate in somehow to improve the engagement of the channel.
Yeah. Did you ever think that you would be making scientific humor for such a large audience?
Never,
Yeah.
ever. Never. I mean, I think that is also a generational problem. In fact, I am not from the generation of Instagram.
Sure.
So imagine to create content directly to post there. I was never ever thought on that. For me, I mean, I don't know even when Instagram was created, but probably it take 5 or 10 years to start posting anything on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not doing Instagram from the beginning of the app. I live the beginning of the app, obviously, but I don't create content, neither post nothing about myself or my research at that moment. It's just another issue that bring me to Instagram. Probably now people think about that possibility, to be a creator, and then
Sure.
think about how to be a good creator and engage people and get nice content that engage people and get huge number of followings, comments, whatever. But I think that my generation, we found that. As you start to do things, and then at the moment you get, oh, Raúl, you are 50,000 followers. Yeah, why? I don't know, but I am doing that. I know if I continue doing that, I will maybe grow or not eventually. We don't know, so keep doing that.
Yeah. So what are things that are coming soon, like for Raúl, either at work or work project or research goes slowly, or any of the other things you're into?
Okay, from my work, we are really now writing a paper. I think it's an amazing part of the work but just for researchers, as to say. I mean, it's like, in fact, now I'm writing and designing the figures of the paper, one paper. The idea is to be able to send in of June and try to publish it as soon as possible, but sometimes it's never. And after that, it's like a close history. And then after that, I have to have an important meeting with my boss and try to direct my work in the lab towards the same direction or another direction. Depend of the interest of my boss, because with that paper we close a part of the research of Kaposi sarcoma, and then it's just to decide if the lab itself want to follow in that sarcoma on this cancer type, or what to move to another one, or just do it. Okay. And for the kernel, don't have too much innovations for the moment. I think that the most innovation for the moment may be establish new collaborations with new people. I think that's.
Yeah.
I think that is. I say it to many people, to many creators, many people that complains about Instagram, complains about people, complains about everything. I also complain a lot about the Instagram. So it's a common task for everybody. It's like. And I think it's like a typical phrase of informatics. Is everything works, don't change it. So innovate in social media has a risk. Is that the people maybe will not love what you are trying to do, if you change a lot. So any innovation has to go very, very, very slowly. The transitions between innovation has to be so smooth. Because if they are so sharp, the people will go out or not. So you have to be sure that you innovate a big changes that the people will love. If not, the better strategy is to try to, well, do some innovations during doing your regular things. And try to carefully analyze if these small innovations are loved by the people or not. But by the moment, I don't have any important change for that channel. I think that I'm happy doing what I'm doing. And I think that the response of the audience is so good. And everything goes fine, to be said.
Yeah.
In fact, if I will make any innovation, will not be related to Instagram.
Yeah.
It will be related to implement another social media, maybe, I don't know, TikTok, maybe a podcast, maybe longer videos in YouTube. If I will do something, it will be related to that.
Yeah.
But if YouTube will have a vertical
Sure.
screen, I will have tried for sure. Just creating, like, instead of 15-second video, 2-3 minutes video with a quite long script.
Mm-hmm.
But with that limitation, it means I duplicate the work, and it's too much. It's too much for me at that moment.
Yeah.
That's the point. And TikTok could be, but at the end could be repeat the same in another platform. It's like, why? You know? I'm happy. And at the end, it start like from zero. People know me from Instagram, and people maybe, if I promote my TikTok channel, probably will follow at the beginning. But if I know so different content in TikTok, which is the reason to follow in both platforms, nobody will do. And if I do double content, it's too much content to be created at the end.
Sure.
For me, it's too much.
Yeah.
Create 2, 3, 4, 5 things every week. You have to develop the idea, develop the screen, choose the music, edit. Well, it's not so stressful, but it's hard. It's time.
It adds up.
You need a double of time, and I have time for doing that. Yeah.
For sure. Well, I know, folks, most of the listeners are probably already following you, but for those who aren't, your Instagram channel is Research Goes Slowly. Is there anywhere else online that people should follow along to see your journey?
I think I didn't catch the question, man. Sorry.
Is there do you have like a personal website for your work or anything else? No?
I don't have anything else. I don't have time.
For sure, yeah.
This is the point. The point is that I don't have time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I thought that I can create a web page to promote this merch, to promote videos, to promote any kind of stupid idea I have, and sections, or maybe writing something about science or my philosophy, whatever I think, related to that, or maybe, I don't know, making workshops to show people how to create jokes or how to edit videos or to be successful in Instagram. I have no time. And this is the point.
Yeah.
Many people ask me, and we can collaborate, we can do, and for many people I will say, okay, give me the idea. If you gave me the idea, I will do. If not, it's not a win-win situation. It's like I have a lot of things to do. I am doing a lot of things with many people. It's like if you contact me, I don't know who are you, and then you ask me, we have to collaborate, give me something, put me CC, because if not, what I am doing is okay. A part of this, I collaborate with many people that request things in that way. I am not afraid to test that and check that and promote that, and promote channels and put these channels in my histories and share content from other people. I don't be afraid to do that. I don't worry about that. I think that there are many people doing better than me probably in Instagram, But if something have been created by me, it takes my time. And I carefully need to check how to handle that. It's not an obsession of timing, but the timing is the unique thing that you can grow. You can grow money working hard, and you can grow recordings staying all the night in the lab, and I can record. I am free to be one night here recording 3 hours if I want. Doesn't care about that. But time is not the time that I have, and I have to fix that issue.
Yeah.
And doing many things is so problematic. I mean, another issue will be reduce the exposure in Instagram to make content or make other things to another channel. It could be an option, but at the moment I'm happy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So,
No, and you're killing it, man. So folks, go check out Research Go Slowly on Instagram if you're not already there. Raúl, last question for you. What do you think all grad students should consider doing before they graduate, whether it's something serious or something fun?
For social media?
Oh, just in life, just as a grad student.
I always say the same. Many people ask me, many people, and I always say that. I say, okay, guy, I am very old, and what I know in life is that you have to do whatever makes you happy, and this is the unique way. You can live. I think that you can live with yourself, doing a work for 8 hours per day in which you are unhappy, because you spend 8 hours sleeping, 8 hours unhappy, many hours doing things that need to be done, cleaning of the house, renting the car, managing whatever, and then you have very few time to do whatever you enjoy your life with. And then if you get stressed during 8 hours of the work, during that time, you will not be able to be happy. And I think that the end of the life is to be happy, to be in peace with you, in peace with your friends, with your family, enjoy with them. And I think it's the unique important. What is difficult? What is really, really, really difficult is decide what makes you happy. And this is the key.
Yeah.
And for that, I will say, nobody can help you. Nobody can tell me, Raúl, you will be happy as Formula 1 driver, or you will be happy going to the moon an astronaut. No, I have to decide to myself what is making me happy. And when I decide myself what I'm making happy, whatever is done, I have to try to do that in my life. And then there are people happy creating content, people happy watching TV and not doing nothing else, people happy creating Amazon and create a big, huge company and creating many problems to solve. And no matter what you make you happy, but do what you happy. Can you imagine Elon Musk or James Bezos or any kind of people in a huge company at the beginning of their company giving all their life in that company if they will not be happy doing that? But what I have to say is that I will not be happy creating Amazon. Maybe during a part of the time of the process of the creation and raising up the company, I will be happy. But after that, it's just managing of a company. And I don't love that. I love to go with my family to beach, to spare, to restaurant. And for that, what I need is time and a little bit of money. And that's it. What made you happy, guy? Do that. If I do my PhD, if I make a postdoc, if I study that, what do you feel that? Do you feel that studying that in the past you were happy? You enjoyed that subject? If you didn't enjoy that subject, why are you pursuing a PhD in that subject? Has no sense. Maybe you love research itself, and then maybe doesn't care about which kind of research to do. Maybe it's an option also. But if you are doing research in a topic that you don't love, you have a problem. And at the end, the problem will create a small crisis in you, and you have to decide. I think that more of these 40s, 50s, 30s existential crisis is just because in that point into your life, people realize that they are not happy with what they are doing at that moment. So try to focus on what you are, not focus on that, try to decide when you are young what you think that will you make happy, and then do that. No need to be rich, no need to be famous, no need to win a Nobel Prize. No need to. Not everybody will love doing that part, so why you?
Yeah.
If you don't love that, don't do that. And I think this is the unique advice.
Makes sense.
If serious, joking, richer, poorer, doesn't matter. It's just you have to wake up and be happy on your life and have the strength to wake up without the stress. When you wake up one day and say, woof, another day to the work, but everybody say that, but thinking seriously, that is, every day of the work and stressing, thinking in the work during your commute and everything, you have a problem. Obviously, nobody wants to work, but we should do that, or many of us should do that. But if you go stress to that.
For sure. For sure. Wise words from Dr. Raúl Peña from Research Goes Slowly. I'll have a link to the Instagram channel in the description of this episode so folks can scroll down and click on that and check out your content, of course, if they haven't already. Raúl, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much to you. Hope the people enjoy that. Hope the people can watch and listen that.
Yeah.
And hope that my English has to be enough clear to everybody.
No, yeah, it was great.
Everybody.
Loved it.
Waiting to listen your edition. Thanks so much. Thank you so much, Matt.
Absolutely. I'll see you next time.
See you.
Thank you all so much for listening to my episode with Raúl. I hope you got a lot out of it. And if you don't follow him on Instagram already, I recommend you scroll down into the description of this episode, click that link, and check out his content. And I will see you all next week. Until then, be well. And don't forget that there is a life after grad school.